Hi, and welcome to a workshop on time management at Georgetown. Many students have a difficult time setting up a routine that works for them, especially with the transition to college. When there's no oversight, students may find themselves having a challenging time with self-regulation. This is where setting up a routine and a schedule can come in very handy. The first thing a student needs to think about is their schedule. I'm posting worksheets for this workshop online alongside this video. You'll want to have those on hand moving forward. There are many things you'll need to consider when creating a schedule. These things include sleep, meals, practices and workouts, study time, social activities, and appointments. We recommend that students start out with a blank, hour-by-hour calendar and plug in all of their classes and reoccurring commitments. This will help you identify where you may have free time. The next step is thinking about study time. You want to make sure that you are studying when you are most alert and energetic. For many of us, this is going to be during the middle of the day or early in the morning, probably not late at night, not after midnight, unless you're a night owl. For most classes, you'll want to plan 2 hours of study time for every hour of class time. Most people operate best when breaking up study into smaller 2-hour blocks, so you'll want to think about that when you're creating your schedule too. It's also advantageous to review and study right before your class and to look over your notes as soon as you're leaving class. Sometimes, when we take notes in class, we use shorthand and concepts can get lost. If you look over your notes after the class is complete, you can identify things that need to be updated, and this will help kind of reconfirm the information you wrote down during the class. It'll also help you understand where you may have lost a concept. That way you could circle that information and ask a friend or ask the professor to clarify some of those concepts for you. Some students like to also take the time after class to create flashcards and vocabulary lists too. We want to make sure that we're setting up a system that works for us and promotes continuous systematic review. As we go through this workshop, we're going to be talking about different types of schedules we can create too, looking at electronic versus handwritten schedules, and talking about creating a system for color coding and reminders, which can be really helpful when you're planning a schedule. I posted a blank schedule like the one you see before you alongside this video. Take a moment to bring that up now. You'll want to work now on plugging in your consistent commitments like classes, workouts, club commitments, reoccurring appointments. By doing this, you'll be able to see where you have free time. Remember, you should also be utilizing your weekends for study. Although some students think of weekends just as recovery, there are lots of things you can do on the weekend to help you catch up with your work, or to plan group study activities, to create flashcards, and be working on that continuous systematic review. Here is an example of a weekly schedule. This student has identified where they will have time for studying by putting in their reoccurring classes and commitments and seeing where they had some good 2 or 3 hour chunks of time. By completing a schedule like this, the student is able to see also where they have availability for a meeting or to go to a professor's office hours. Having your schedule handy is a critical life skill, as you will be expected to know your availability in the working world too. This student was also able to identify times for fun activities like dinners with friends, and they were also able to identify time for the gym. It's critical to be thinking about making time for fun and making time for fitness too, because balance is going to be the key to success. The student also found some study time on the weekends. Weekends, as I mentioned before, are a great time to catch up on work and to plan group study sessions. So when you're creating your schedule, you're going to want to be thinking about how you're using your weekends and how you're using the daylight hours during the week so that you can be efficient and effective and still be getting 7 hours of sleep at least a night. Once you have an overview of your weekly schedule, you can begin to fill in the blanks in your daily schedule. Here's an example of what that might look like. It's important that you look at all of your syllabi early in the semester and plug in deadlines and exam dates into your calendar. This way you can also put in cues or benchmarks to start preparing for studying. That way nothing will creep up on you. Then, when you plan your study time, think about what you're going to study and how much time you intend to spend on it. When you know assignments are coming up, you can break up tasks by reading and plugging in that information into your scheduled study time. As you can see here, the student has listed out what reading they're going to be doing during their study time after lunch, and they've also put in cues to themselves for starting problem of God paper, emailing their professor, working on their flashcards. And this is a Monday schedule, a Monday daily schedule, and you can see at the bottom there they've cued themselves that they have a test on Friday for history, so they want to start working on their study guide as part of their study time on Monday night. They're also cueing themselves to make an appointment for the Writing Center for Thursday to work on a problem of God paper that's presumably due later on in the semester, and that can be a good benchmark for you as you're moving along, giving yourselves opportunities to meet with professors, to meet with the Writing Center, or to meet with friends to talk about upcoming tests or papers or work. You'll also notice that this student put the test preparation and study guide in red on their calendar. This is a great opportunity for us to talk about using color coding as a way to prompt yourself to remember something. A lot of people find it beneficial to put tests or deadlines in reds and to put other assignments in different colors to kind of cue them and prompt them on what's coming up. There's also two schools of thoughts regarding handwriting versus electronic. Handwritten agenda book or calendar can be great for people who find the practice of writing something down helpful in retaining it. I always recommend to students that they keep a wall calendar in their dorm room or in their apartment so they can see what's coming up. Other students find it really helpful to have an electronic calendar. You might want to utilize your Gmail account, which comes with a calendar function, or if you have a smartphone too, thinking about ways to use your smartphone calendar. You can put in reoccurring events in an electronic calendar. You can email or text yourself reminders too. And with the Gmail calendar, at least, you have the ability to color code things so that you can use those visual cues and prompts. And since everybody has their phone on hand these days, you're able to sync your calendar from the cloud and save it to your phone so that you always have access to it. And this can be really key when you're trying to make plans and you're out and about with friends or talking to a professor, so that you know what your schedule is and you don't find yourself fumbling around. When working on your schedule, it's important to remember to be flexible. Trade time. Don't steal it. And by that I mean, if a friend comes to you with an opportunity and tickets to go and hear a campus speaker, then you might want to look at your schedule and see what you had down for that time. If you had scheduled a study group or study time or time to work on a paper, you're going to want to immediately transfer that task to another time so that you can make it up. It's also important to have balance in your schedule too. You want to make sure that you're making time for other group activities that aren't related to school and making time for fun. There are lots of tools that can help keep you on track. As you're creating a schedule, you're going to want to think about what works best for you. Do you have an agenda book? Do you need to purchase one? Going and getting an online calendar or using your Gmail calendar? Thinking about how you're using reminders. Are there apps for your phone that you might want to download and look at? Students also find it really helpful to have a to-do list. Creating a to-do list every night before you go to bed is a great habit to get into. You just take a moment to jot down the things that you need to get done the next day, and then as you accomplish those things, you can check them off their list. For some of us, that might actually be a physical post-it note or sheet of paper. For others, we might want to use a reminder function on our phone or in our Gmail calendar so that we can keep everything in one place. You're also going to want to think about where you're studying and considering your personal study needs and environment. Do you like it completely quiet? Are you more efficient when people are around to keep you on track? Think of places on campus. Explore libraries and other areas. Sometimes getting out of your room can make all the difference in the world. Georgetown has lots of libraries, including Lowinger, the Bioethics Library in Healy Hall, and the Medical School Library, to name a few. There are several great study spaces in the new Regents Hall. There are Residence Hall study rooms, Selinger Lounge in the Levy Center. There are spaces in MSB and ICC, just to name a few. Find a place that works for you. Many people find it helpful to have a white noise machine or an iPhone app to drown out other noises that are going on around them. If you're looking for an app on your phone, you just want to put in a white noise machine app. That can be really helpful if you're trying to tune out other people talking or other movements that are going on. That can also be really helpful for sleep too. Some of us have roommates that are a little bit noisier than we would like. We can use those white noise machines or apps on our phone to drown out some of the other noises. Getting rid of distractions is huge. Leave your room, leave your phone in your room when you go to study. Recognize the fact that probably nothing will happen that's critical during that 2 hours of study time. You don't need your phone. Also thinking about using apps for your computer too, something like Self-Control or other blocking software that'll block you from websites. Those are really great ways to hold yourself accountable. Making appointments with your professors, studying with friends, using the Writing Center can all be really great tools to kind of keep you on track. If you're the type of person who needs a little bit more accountability, you're going to want to make sure that you're setting up those measures so that you can be successful. In thinking about success, it's important that you're aware of the resources that are here on campus to help you. Many departments offer tutoring. If you're having trouble with something in a class, ask the professor or the TA if the department offers tutoring. For foreign language classes, if you're getting a C or less up to intermediate level 2, there's a time period where you can apply for a language tutor through the Academic Resource Center. You just have to come to the ARC and talk to us about the challenges that you're having. There's a Math Assistance Center, there's econ tutoring. You might want to start by either contacting the ARC and asking us for a list of those services, or looking on our website for that information, or by talking to the professor. Really, your professor should be your first point of contact for some of these issues, because many of the professors have office hours or are willing to work with you outside of class if you don't understand what's going on. You just need to talk to them. There's also the Writing Center, which is in the Lowinger Library by the Midnight Mug. If you're working on a paper, any type of paper, they're willing to help you. You can set up appointments with them online, or you can stop by and see if somebody's able to meet with you. The library also has workshops. If you're thinking about doing a research paper, or you have a question about how to use some of the library equipment, they have lots of online resources for that too. And the ARC, we also offer in-person workshops too, and you can find that information on our website. In closing, I'd like to encourage you to get in touch with us here at the Academic Resource Center if you have a question about time management or about any of our other workshops. Our website is here, academicsupport.georgetown.edu, along with our email and our telephone number. Moving forward, I encourage you to use some of the information that you learned here today in thinking about your schedule for the school year.